Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us in another episode of Behind the Bar. I'm your host, Timmy Tayo, and today we're going to review the 1-1 draw in the Europa League in Spain against Real Sociedad. I think this is probably one of the best performances we've seen from Man United under Ruben Amorim since he's arrived. Controlled the game, especially in the first half. We limited Sociedad to really not any chances at all. Had the better chances in the first half. We stifled their offense. We were able to take advantage of that high line, Hoyland running the channels and good balls down the channels, and really put them on the back foot and limited their chances, like I said. Of course, the breakthrough goal by Joshua Zirkzee, who we'll talk about in a second. And of course, a dubious penalty. I know in Europe, those penalties tend to be given whether it's intentional or not. But nonetheless, I think a good performance and a good result. And as always, we'll look at our main takeaways from this draw. And the first and foremost is the tie is definitely in the balance, right? There's all to play for going back to Manchester in the second leg next week, Thursday. And if this performance was anything to go by, I think Man United have every reason to be optimistic about our chances progressing to the quarterfinals. I think this performance was certainly something to build on. The way that we controlled Sociedad, the way that we controlled possession, and the way that we limited their attack, like I said, was certainly a building block of the kind of performance that we can put in next week to get us into the quarterfinals. And so lots of positives that we'll talk about, but of course, all to play for, like I said, going into the second leg. But I think we're giving ourselves every chance to progress, not just with the result, but with the performance. Very encouraging displays throughout the pitch, from defense to midfield, and certainly in attack. And I think this is certainly a stepping stone moving on to the second leg, which will be at Old Trafford, where we have struggled in the Premier League. But of course, in the Europa League, we're the only team in Europe that has yet to lose a game in European football this season. And so when you look at the landscape and you consider that fact, I think there's every reason to be optimistic about the game at Old Trafford. Of course, I think the second point is Joshua Zirkzee's form being on the rise. We've talked about Zirkzee over the last few weeks. I've lauded his performances, and I've mentioned that the goals and the goal contributions will come. And today, it came to fruition with a beautiful Strock goal in the second half, courtesy of a Garnacho assist to give us the 1-0 lead. And up until that point, up until the penalty, I should say, we looked the team likely to get the second goal. And I think Joshua Zirkzee has gone from strength to strength. His ability to hold up play, his ability to use his strength to shield defenders, to link up play, to get other teammates involved, and now to add a goal to the performance, I think is going to do a world of confidence for him, especially after missing that penalty against Fulham in the FA Cup. To bounce back today with a goal, to get his team in the lead and to get a result away at Spain, I think is going to do wonders for Zirkzee. And I mentioned how he's been really the key to the attack outside of Bruno Fernandes ever since Ahmad has dropped out. And I can only see that continuing. You can see that the team trusts him. You can see that the team look for him in attack. And now he's starting to add the goal contributions. And I can only see him continue to progress from here. So kudos to Zirkzee on his performance and his goal. And hopefully he's going to use this as a springboard to put in more good performances. Like I said, the goal contributions will certainly come with the consistent performances. So credit to Zirkzee, and long may that continue. My third point is the resurgence of Casemiro. I think Casemiro was a standout player in that midfield today. He won the most duels of anyone, the most tackles. I think it was 8 duels that Casemiro won today. Completed more tackles than anyone on the pitch. And it looked like he had a quiet game, but that's always the hallmark of a good player. When they typically go unnoticed, it means that they're in the right position, they're doing the little things right. And that was Casemiro today. Certainly not a throwback performance from Casemiro, but certainly miles ahead of the player that we thought was washed and we thought was way past his best. And I'm not saying this is a renaissance from Casemiro, but this was an encouraging performance today. He quietly went about his business, winning the ball back, getting us progressed up the pitch, forward passes, breaking the lines, and just a great performance from Casemiro. I know that the team has a lot of injuries right now, a lot of struggles in the middle of the park. And if he can come in once a week and give these types of performances, especially in Europe, it can only bode well for the team moving forward. So credit to Casemiro today for putting in a great performance. Like I said, 8 duels won. He made more tackles than anyone on the park today. And in that midfield, I know that Real Sociedad were missing their best midfielder in Zubamendi, but today Casemiro definitely shone brightest in the middle of the park. So credit to him for sure. And my next point, I think, is the defensive solidity. And I think really that all started with Matthias de Ligt. De Ligt was a rock in the back. I talked about his best performance in the last game against Fulham, and you can see that confidence oozing out of him in today's game. Just crunching tackles, winning the ball back, putting his head where it hurts. I mean, there was one play that comes to mind where there was a cross into the box where he slips, and while he's on the floor, still manages to clear the ball. And I think Matthias de Ligt has definitely come into his own over the last few weeks, and he's showing that he can be that rock at the back that we can build around in terms of this defense and this team from the back moving forward. And so credit to de Ligt for having great back-to-back performances. I mentioned a month ago or so that he was in and out of the team, and I think now he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet with the level of performance that we're seeing from de Ligt. So credit to de Ligt, and hopefully he can carry this on and stay injury-free for the rest of the season. And finally, a not so positive point is we need to see more from Garnacho. I think his decision in the final third always leaves me wanting. Now, that may appear harsh considering the fact that he did come away with an assist today for Xerxes' goal, but time without number, he gets the ball into very good positions in the final third, and I counted, I think, 3 shots that went to the side netting, where you would expect him to either try to work a better shot for himself or find a pass for a teammate in a better position to shoot. And I know he's a young player, but from what he did last season to where we are today, I think we've seen a regression, just like we have with Højlund. And I think Garnacho needs to do more. I don't know if the proposed move in January has anything to do with his head not being there and making these decisions in the final third, but we're seeing just a lack of discipline, a lack of decision making. When he gets into good positions, he just doesn't seem to be able to make the right call, whether it's a shot, whether it's a pass, to lead to a goal scoring opportunity. And so I think we need to see more from Garnacho, especially now that Ahmad is out and there's no Mason Mount, and we're struggling for goals. And he's one player that gets the fans excited, but that end product just always seems to be missing. And so definitely need to see better decision making from Garnacho moving forward. And yeah, it's going to be a tall task ahead to be able to work our way up in the Premier League. But of course, there's still hope, like I said, in the Europa League, which is really the only chance we have to salvage what's been a horrible season to this point. Good result, good performance, and lots of positives to carry into next week game at Old Trafford. That's it for me today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.